Hello, I'm Archbishop Christopher Coyne, and this is Coffee with the Archbishop. And joining me is my normal interlocutor, David Elliott, the Director of Communications of the Archdiocese.
How many of our viewers do you think have Googled the definition of interlocutor after watching this series?
Some people probably thought it was like a superhero or something. I am the interlocutor.
I'd like to think of myself as a superhero of sorts, you know.
No, I'm glad you think so.
Okay. Well, speaking of superheroes, I think it's possible that there may be a young man or two watching this video, maybe wondering, hey, that guy with the big pectoral cross, that archbishop there, how does one become a bishop? So that's the question I want to pose to you today. How does someone become a bishop?
It's actually kind of complex because it's done in such a way that the man who's being considered by others and by the Holy Father eventually to be a bishop, to be ordained or asked to be a bishop, knows nothing about the fact that that's happening.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So everything is done in a way that the man doesn't like put in an application, he doesn't politic for it, he doesn't do anything untoward in a way of moving himself forward. Basically, it's just that the church chooses the man secretly and quietly. But it's not done just by a group of like just bishops and other people together. There's actually a kind of a vetting process, which for the most part does remain secretive, interestingly enough, given the number of people that actually get brought into it. So first thing is a man to be a bishop has to be 35 years old. He has to be ordained at least 5 years. And he has to be a priest in good standing, no major issues. He's supposed to have a terminal degree, a doctorate. But if he doesn't have that, the church supplies with an honorary doctorate because they don't. Sometimes we have really good guys who should be bishops but just didn't have the opportunity to get a doctorate.
So they'll supply that for the purpose of elevating him to the status of bishop. Okay.
So that's called a DD. So when you see DD, every bishop gets named a DD. Okay. It's an honorary degree. So I have a DD, but I also have a real doctorate. So I always get mad when people put my name and said DD. I said, no, it's STD. I have a real doctorate. I'll give you DD. So I worked hard for that. But those things just start there. And then the local bishops, as drawn together by the Archbishop in a metropolitan, which is, for us, it's Connecticut and Rhode Island. And I just had a meeting with with the bishops from Connecticut and Rhode Island. Every 3 years, we're supposed to produce a list of possible candidates and send it to Rome. Possible candidates for the Holy Father and the Congregation of Bishops to consider somebody for possibly being a bishop. And that process starts by my making inquiries among the priests and people of God as to names of priests that they think might be good bishops.
And so every bishop has to do this?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, you're supposed to do this. And I did that last year, and I got a number of other letters. Give me the name of the guy and why you think he'd be good. And I got a number of letters from different people. All the priests were allowed to send me a name. And then also some lay people I asked. I got things like that. When I was in Vermont, I asked a lot of lay people, and along with the priests. And then I have those together, and then working my way through them, I look at the ones that seem to get the most, and say, okay. And then I talk, and then the thing for me was to go down and get the guy's personnel file, and quietly, confidentially, to go through it, and to just read up where he went to school, where his assignments were, is there anything in his file that looks problematic? There's a notation that goes in on the file if there's a serious allegation or problem that was made against the priest, and that other file is kept away. So I look right away. I always look at that right away.
Sure.
Okay, he doesn't have that notation. So that's clean. So after I've done that, I put together a basic start, a curriculum vitae, lay it out, and then I present it to the other bishops. And I say, here are two guys that I would like to begin the process of forming them as priests, and here's their curriculum vitae. There's nothing in their files. They're good priests. They were well thought of. People nominated them, and all that. So then, when that's done, the initial list is put together, and they say yes. Then we begin to do a more serious thing in terms of like putting it all together and submitting the names initially to the nunciature, and all that, and along with those. So we send the list over, and we vote on, and then we begin a process where. Again, it takes a couple of years, but back and forth. Rome actually sends, if they decide that this guy is a possible candidate, they'll send a letter to people. When I send the name over, I say these are people that you probably want to ask about this guy. So they actually get a letter that says from the Holy See that says we're asking you confidentially to tell us about this guy. Do you know him? Do you think he's a good priest? Do you think he'd make a good bishop? And it's under complete secrecy. Please put in these double envelopes, send it back to us. Sure.
So it sounds like the Holy Father really, really relies on the bishops and archbishops to sort of do this initial legwork to figure out who are the most capable men who could serve in this role.
He does, because of course he can't be everywhere all around the world.
Naturally.
But it doesn't just have to be priests from my diocese. So I could nominate guys that I know from Boston, guy that I know perhaps from Indianapolis. I may be doubling up because they may have the list. The lists are kept private.
Sure.
So I'm the only one that has a list. The Archbishop is the only one that has the actual list from previous times. And so there are guys that are on the list that have been approved but haven't been named bishops yet.
Maybe this sounds like a silly question, but I wonder if any of our viewers are wondering, has a priest or can a priest nominate himself?
No, no, he can't.
Okay.
He can't.
Sure.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that happen? Or is it well known that you can't?
I know there are guys, we refer to those people as transitional priesthood, guys in the transitional priesthood. And it doesn't work that way.
Okay,
It doesn't work that way. Usually that's the first, if a guy wants it,
right.
then you don't want him.
So that's an immediate red flag.
Right.
If someone is sort of jockeying themselves for a higher position.
Yeah, when I got the call in December 2010 when I was a pastor outside of Boston, I had no idea that I was being considered. Honestly.
Yeah, could you walk us through that? How did you find out that you were about to become
I got a
bishop?
phone call. People know a lot of my story, and I was very involved at the archdiocesan level and dealt with a lot of sadness and all of that, and just the stuff about, the burden of being a bishop and everything like that. If I ever had any ambition to be other than just a parish priest, that got beat out of me. I just said, no, I don't want to think about it. And I thought that given all that my stuff that I'd been involved in, that there was just not going to happen. But I got a call. I was just getting ready to go out to hear confessions at a local high school. It was just before Christmas, and Archbishop Sambi, the papal nuncio, called me from Washington and said, Pope Benedict has chosen you to become a bishop, and he wants you to be an auxiliary bishop in Indianapolis. And I said, why are you sending the guy from Boston to Indianapolis? And he said, the church does what the church does. So I like
that line. I got to keep that line in my back pocket when I get a difficult email from someone.
So I was as surprised as anybody else. I know, I was going to Indianapolis was a challenge. My mother liked the Pope until I had to go to Indianapolis. Then she didn't like the Pope because one of her children was in Indianapolis then.
Did you tell her that the church does what the church does? Did it soothe her concerns at all? Or?
Yeah. She cried when I told her.
Sure, of course.
She was very proud, but she was also very sad that I was moving away.
How did you feel personally? I mean, you're such a Boston guy. I mean, was it difficult to be told you're going to go out to Indianapolis?
I was a Patriots fan going to Colts territory. So
that's problematic.
Oh yeah, they hate. I would imagine. They'd say you must really hate us. I said no, we always used to beat you. Why would I hate you?
I know. So, you don't even think about them.
So no, but they hated the Patriots. Oh my God.
Right.
But aside from that, I was basically because I went there as an auxiliary. I went there as kind of like a pastor. I didn't have to make the decisions. I just had to be a good priest and a good bishop to people, do confirmations, get out and see people.
Sure.
I didn't have to do all that, and. The next stage of becoming bishop in Burlington, Vermont, and now here, it's a little bit more difficult because that's when you have to deal with some difficult situations, but you're also dealing with a lot of good stuff too, like the new school that we're opening up in Hartford, and a lot of good things, and the increase in vocations to the priesthood that we're seeing, and also just the increase in the number of people going to Mass, the increase in the number of our young people going to college campuses and joining the Newman Center, and our Catholic schools are going through the roof in terms of their numbers.
There's a lot of excitement.
There is a lot of excitement happening, and the numbers are increasing in the amount of giving that people are giving to us, so that we can feed the poor. We're $500,000 ahead of where we were last year at this time, and that's and we were able to give checks out to take care of people who are hungry in situations.
Yeah, I was just looking at the AAA numbers. I was astonished at how far up we are on the needle there. Yeah. I think people are very invigorated and very excited to
we're close to 10 million. We haven't reached 10 million like 7 years. So we're going to get there.
That's great news. A lot to be excited about.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think so. But I'm very happy. Bishop Walter Redevine, who was one of my mentors in seminary, he's dead. May he rest in peace. But when I was made a bishop, he gave me this crucifix, which he received from St. John Paul II.
Wow.
So it actually says on the back St. John Paul II. So
Wow, that's beautiful.
so it's kind of like a bit of a relic because it could be a third class relic.
It is the third class, right? Yeah.
So we're around it.
Wow,
around my
look at
neck.
that.
Yeah, it's just nice. So I have it.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's one. And then I got my ring and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm so proud and happy to be the Archbishop of, and so grateful and humbled to be the Archbishop of Hartford.
Well, we're happy to have you.
Thank you. You're welcome. And you've been watching Coffee with the Archbishop. God bless.